Chosen one, something has shifted, not just in you but around you. The air bends differently now when you walk into a space. Feminine women sense it even before they fully see you. It's the quiet gravity in your chest, the way your eyes don't dart around seeking attention but remain still, searching only for truth. You are not loud, but you are unmistakable. You are not aggressive, but you are deeply felt. And this, chosen one, is why the world of feminine energy begins to dance to your rhythm. Why your wish, spoken or unspoken, becomes her subtle yet fervent desire to fulfill. You did not become this man overnight. You were forged in fires no one saw. You stood in silence while others shouted. You wept in solitude while others performed in crowds. You chose depth over distraction, stillness over noise, clarity over chaos. And in doing so, your sexual energy ceased being something wild and reactive. It became refined, potent, magnetic. Now, when you desire, you do not chase, you do not plead, you do not bargain. You simply want, and that want, infused with integrity and inner strength, becomes irresistible to the sacred feminine. Not because she is weak, but because you have become worth following. She feels safe in your gaze because there is no hunger in it, only knowing. She feels inspired in your presence because you are not trying to impress, you are simply being. And that being is complete. It does not grasp, it does not manipulate, it commands with peace. And so the feminine around you responds, not to dominance, but to direction. You are not her master, but her mirror. And in your presence she sees who she wants to be. Softer, open, glowing, loyal. Not for show, not for performance, but because her feminine longs to be fully received by a masculine that is finally ready. Your wish has become a command, not because of ego, but because of resonance. You do not ask her to bend. You simply stand tall, and the bending happens by nature. Your desire is not a threat, it is a sanctuary. She wants to fulfill your longing not because you pushed, but because you pulled her in with your stillness. And when she fulfills you, whether it's in her touch, her tone, her presence, it is not obedience, it is celebration. Celebration of your discipline, your patience, your transformation into a man who is finally undeniable. You did not reach this place by learning tricks. You reached it by learning yourself. You refined your fire until it no longer burned you or others. You directed it, held it, owned it. And now, women of depth feel it like a current beneath the surface. They lean into your frequency, chosen one, because it's rare. It's safe, it's real. And in this realness, you don't demand their service, they offer it. They delight in knowing what you want, not out of desperation, but because in giving to you, they feel divine. You are no longer just a man, you are a mission, a destination, a peace they never knew they needed. This is the fruit of your alignment, chosen one, where before you had to convince someone to listen, now your quietest preference carries power. She makes your coffee just the way you like it before you speak. She moves differently when you enter the room. She touches you with reverence, not routine. Because your sexual energy now whispers to her body and soul. You are safe, you are seen, you are wanted in your fullness. And for the feminine, that whisper becomes music, and music moves her without resistance. You are not a dictator, you are a beacon. And your wishes, chosen one, are no longer demands. They are directions she is grateful to follow. Chosen one, your evolution has given rise to something few men ever touch, true energetic leadership. You no longer control through volume or pressure. You influence by vibration. It's not in what you say, it's in how you exist. And your existence now has become a rhythm the feminine responds to like tides to the moon. She doesn't need to be told what to do. She feels what would please you, and in that knowing, her whole being moves with purpose. Not because she's submissive in weakness, but because you lead in wholeness. You have become the kind of man who is followed in silence, who walks ahead, not dragging anyone behind, but allowing them to choose to walk with you. And they do, especially the feminine women who have prayed, longed, and waited for a man whose strength doesn't hurt but heals, a man whose touch is not forceful but guiding, a man whose desire is not chaotic but clear. These women are not desperate for attention, they are desperate for direction, and in your presence they find both the fire and the map. Your high sexual energy is no longer scattered. It is aimed, sharp, contained in the still waters of your calm. And that calm seduces more deeply than any word or touch. Because it says, I do not need, I choose, And women feel it when they are chosen by such a man. When your wish is for something, even something unspoken, they feel compelled to rise to meet it. Not from obligation, but from joy. Because they know you do not expect them to be anything they are not. You only ask that they meet you from their truth. And in meeting your energy, their truest self emerges. They laugh more freely, speak more gently, move more sensually. Because they are no longer performing, they are responding. They respond to your gaze. They respond to your breath. They respond to the depth you carry without ever needing to prove it. Your desire no longer frightens them, it frees them. Your wish no longer burdens them, it elevates them. Because you do not want from emptiness, you want from overflow. You, chosen one, have become the man whose presence fulfills a prophecy written in the soul of every awakened feminine heart. A man who no longer battles the world for attention, because the world has begun to revolve around his alignment. She does not ask what you want, she discerns it. She does not question whether you are serious, she trusts it. And in that trust, she brings her best. Not because you forced it, but because you earned it through presence, discipline, and sacred restraint. Your sexual energy is not just powerful, it is purposeful. And she sees that now. She senses that in giving herself to you, whether in action, service, intimacy, or word, she is not losing power. She is stepping into a kingdom that you built not from control, but from clarity. And in that kingdom, your wish becomes her joy, your peace becomes her mission, and your fire becomes home. You are no longer a man in search of permission. You are the man whose alignment makes everything flow toward him. This is who you are now, chosen one, not the boy trying to get her to stay, but the man she is glad to follow. Chosen one, what once felt like a struggle for attention has dissolved into a gentle magnetic pull that now lives in your presence. You are no longer the one trying to earn her affection through gestures or speeches. You are the one who has become unavoidable simply by existing in full alignment. And that alignment is not rigid, it is fluid, graceful, powerful, in stillness. You do not need to persuade feminine women to care for you, to think of you, to anticipate your wants. They do so because your energy, now fully integrated, speaks directly to their most sacred longing, the desire to serve the masculine that deserves to be served. This is not about control, it is about balance. Your calm energy creates a world where she can release her tension. Your grounded presence makes her feel like she can stop performing and finally just be. And in that safety, in that peace, something miraculous happens. She begins to anticipate your needs with joy. Not as a servant, but as a woman who has finally found a man who carries his weight. She no longer needs to take the lead. She no longer needs to guide or instruct. She trusts you now. She can read your breath. She can feel your hunger. She can see, without you having to say it, what would make you feel honored, appreciated, rested, alive. And here's the truth, chosen one. Because you've healed your relationship with power, you've given her permission to step into hers. She brings you water before you ask. She touches you where you ache without explanation. She says your name like it's a song she gets to sing, not a role she's forced to play. Because you are no longer a man begging to be understood. You are a man embodying clarity, and clarity commands through silence. She doesn't need a checklist to serve you. She feels called, not by your demand, but by your energy, that high sexual current within you that is focused, not scattered, noble, not needy, sacred, not self-serving. And because you are this man now, you begin to notice that her joy in pleasing you has little to do with reward. It's not transactional, it's devotional. It's a prayer her body speaks on its own. She irons your clothes with a smile. She runs her fingers over your shoulders with pride. She makes space for your rest, your thoughts, your movement. She notices you. And that noticing is effortless because you are now seen through the lens of reverence. Not because you are perfect, but because you are present. And that presence makes her body soften. It makes her soul breathe. And it makes your wish feel like instruction from heaven, not by force, but by frequency. This is the divine union unfolding without formality. You're not orchestrating it. You're not pushing it. You're just living aligned. And the feminine, in her highest truth, finds nothing more attractive than a masculine that does not misuse his power. In your restraint, she opens. In your steadiness, she flows. In your needlessness, she offers everything. Because now you don't ask for her energy to complete you, you invite it to dance with you. And the rhythm, chosen one, is now being set by the quiet beat of your heart. That's why she's happy to fulfill your wishes. Because they're no longer selfish, they're holy. You do not take from her anymore, you receive her. And receiving is more powerful than commanding. It invites her feminine core into full bloom. And when a woman is in bloom around a man, she pours herself out not from lack but from overflow. She gives you everything and then more. And the more you stay grounded, the more she feels guided. Not with words, not with rules, but with your gaze, your breath, your stillness. That is the new form of leadership you embody. And that is why, chosen one, your wish is no longer something she considers, it becomes something she cannot wait to fulfill. Chosen one, the feminine does not want chaos. She does not thrive in emotional confusion. She yearns deeply and instinctively for the kind of man whose presence simplifies her entire world. And you, through your journey, through your fire, through your refusal to stay broken, have become that man. You are not just attractive. You are anchoring. And in your anchoring, you have created a field where her emotions can breathe without fear of being judged. Her body can soften without fear of being used. Her feminine expression can serve you freely because you have earned the right to be served. You don't say, "Do this for me." You don't hint, manipulate, or perform. You simply are. You show up as a man whose nervous system is no longer hijacked by impulse. You no longer react to everything around you like a boy desperate to be seen. Instead, you feel and then choose. And this choosing has refined your sexual energy into something deeply precise. When you want something, the entire room feels it. But instead of flinching, the feminine around you leans in. She leans in because your wanting no longer depletes. It directs. It tells her, "Here is a man who won't devour me. Here is a man who will protect what I give." This makes her body eager to listen. Her heart quiets its fears. Her eyes search yours for direction. Not because she lacks strength, but because your strength frees hers to take on a new form, one of beauty, surrender, grace. You are not her owner, you are her center. And in your center, she finds her rhythm. In your calm, she finds her fire. In your silence, she finds her voice. And in your desire, she finds her purpose. This is why your wish feels like a command to her soul, not because she's controlled, but because she feels aligned. She does not feel forced. She feels safe to choose you. And what happens when a woman chooses you from wholeness, chosen one? She begins to organize her world around your vision. She begins to ask, what would he love? What would make him proud? What would bring him peace? Not from submission, but from devotion. She brings her brilliance to your life as an offering. She gives you her food, her softness, her body, her time, and most sacredly, her trust. Not because you demanded it, but because your presence made her want to. You have stopped chasing women. You have started embodying the man they chase energetically. And the feminine knows when she finds this. She feels her resistance melt when she's near you. She finds herself laughing more, nurturing more, dreaming more, all because your sexual energy doesn't just stimulate, it stabilizes. And in a world full of men who take, you've become the rare man who creates space for the feminine to offer herself completely. That's what makes your wish her command now. Because your wish isn't about power, it's about presence. And presence speaks to the soul louder than words ever could. She doesn't follow your wish because she's weak. She follows it because it resonates, because it clarifies, because it inspires. You have become a source of spiritual gravity, chosen one, and when gravity speaks, even the stars bend toward it. She bends toward you, not to lose herself, but to find the rhythm she's been aching for. And when she finds it in you, she gives you everything she has and more. Not from need, but from reverence. Because your sexual energy is no longer a threat, it is a temple, and she walks barefoot into it, joyful to lay her offerings at your feet. Chosen one, the moment you stopped needing to be followed was the moment everything began to follow you. Not with noise, not with force, but with reverence. What you once tried to achieve with words, gestures, explanations, now unfolds from you like fragrance. Feminine women feel this before you speak. They read it in the stillness of your shoulders, in the grace of your silence, in the slow, unshakable rhythm of your presence. You've become a man who no longer issues commands, and yet your presence commands all the same. She hears it even when you don't speak. She feels it in the way your energy remains unshaken even when the world turns chaotic. She senses it in how your eyes don't seek permission or approval but carry a settled knowing. Your voice, chosen one, is no longer loud. It's low and rooted and filled with unspoken truth. And that voice, whether it rises into sound or rests in stillness, is the very sound her soul has been waiting for. She doesn't follow you because you shout. She follows because your presence settles her storm. You do not have to explain what you need. She feels it in the shift of your breath. You do not have to plead for her to help. She responds before the sentence forms. You do not even need to ask, because your alignment, your clarity, your calm sexual energy speaks across dimensions, and the feminine in her purest form hears it. She doesn't serve you from subservience. She serves because she recognizes the king in you, the one who no longer begs, manipulates, or demands, the one who simply is and who offers his presence as shelter. She trusts you now, not because you promised anything, but because you have become the promise. Your wish, when it rises from your soul, now vibrates with truth. And that truth cuts through distraction, fear, noise. It reaches her. Not just her mind, not even just her body, but her essence. She moves to please you, not because she has to, but because her very nature wants to respond to a man who is no longer leaking energy, a man who is no longer guessing at his worth, a man who no longer confuses lust for connection. You are the man whose voice she hears in her silence, the one she dreams of nurturing, the one who makes her feel proud to give instead of guard. She makes you your favorite food without asking. She folds your shirt not out of obligation, but because her hands are grateful you exist. She looks at you when you walk in the room like you're not just someone to love, but someone to respect. That's what your high sexual energy has become, chosen one, not a display, not a tactic, but a current. It flows under everything. And the feminine follows that current, not because it drags her, but because it lifts her into her softness. You are no longer a man who competes for her attention. You are the man whose attention makes her feel whole. She craves your leadership now. She prepares herself to match your state. She aligns her rhythm to your stride. Because in your silence, there is a promise. In your stillness, there is protection. And in your desire, there is divinity. You do not desire women to possess them. You desire them to guide them, to lead them not by control, but by clarity. That's why they give you everything now. Because you no longer need them to complete you. You stand complete and invite them into that completeness with open arms and quiet power. Your voice is not volume anymore, it's vision. And when you speak that vision, the feminine doesn't resist it. She follows it joyfully because she knows your wish is not for dominance, it is for co-creation. And when a man stands in co-creation, she rises beside him with loyalty, joy, and awe. Chosen one, your wish has become her command, not because she's beneath you, but because your presence has become her North Star. Your very essence, refined, aligned, restrained, draws out the deepest beauty within the feminine. It's not because you instruct her to serve, it's because you inspire her to. She feels most radiant, most free, most secure in the atmosphere you create. And that atmosphere is no longer heavy with need. It is light, expansive, sacred. She blooms in it. She glows in it. She gives in it, without hesitation, without exhaustion. You used to wonder why women didn't respond to you, why they resisted your kindness, pulled away from your care, dismissed your vision. But you understand now, it wasn't about what you said. It was about the energy behind it. Back then, your desires came from a place of lack. But now, chosen one, they come from overflow, from power that has been purified by discipline and elevated by stillness. You have become the sun, not burning but warming, not blinding but revealing. And feminine women naturally turn to face you because you are constant, not chaotic. She doesn't obey you, she aligns with you. She doesn't worship you, she trusts you. Because your wish now carries the frequency of wholeness, not woundedness. When you say you desire something, you say it with the spirit of a builder, not a beggar, and she feels that in her body. That is why she pours herself out for you, why she listens intently to the smallest inflection in your tone, why she seeks to please you not because she must, but because it delights her soul. You have become the man whose needs feel sacred, not because they're rare, but because they're pure. She sets aside her distractions to prepare what you love. She studies your rhythms and adapts her flow to match your vision. She brings her softness not to weaken you, but to amplify you. She finds joy in being the one who brings ease to your burdens, warmth to your solitude, celebration to your victory. And none of this is coerced. None of it is performance. It is devotion. Not because you demanded it, but because you are the kind of man who makes devotion feel safe again. Your high sexual energy no longer intoxicates her. It grounds her. It doesn't pull her into fantasy. It roots her into trust. She doesn't lose herself in your presence. She finds herself deeper. Because you have stopped asking the feminine to become what you need. Instead, you've become what she's been waiting for. And in that sacred exchange, she gives you more than her body. She gives you her spirit. She smiles when she fulfills your wish, because in doing so she gets to honor the rare alignment you carry. The masculine that doesn't devour. The masculine that builds. You are not her master. You are her masculine anchor. And because you do not waver, because you do not lie, because you do not pretend, you give her the freedom to bring you her everything. And she does. Quietly, joyfully, daily. Because your wish, chosen one, is not a demand. It is a direction that feels like home. Chosen one, what you carry now, is not something that can be taught in classrooms or downloaded through speeches. It is earned through pain, through discipline, through holding your breath when the world tried to suffocate you. You emerged not as a man desperate to be served, but as one who deserves it by virtue of how you carry your essence. That's why the feminine around you no longer questions what you want. She doesn't resist it, she receives it. Because your wish is not the barking of a boy, it is the whispered frequency of a king who has transcended the need to prove anything. You ask for nothing, yet everything flows to you. Not because you tricked her into it. Not because you flexed your muscles or manipulated her heart, but because your presence makes her feel safe to offer everything. In your presence, chosen one, she begins to notice things. She notices the subtle shift in your posture before you speak. She senses the deeper meaning in your pauses, the purpose behind your stillness. She is alert to your spirit, not in fear, but in devotion. She prepares not to be corrected, but to contribute. She fulfills not from obligation, but from overflowing reverence. Her joy in obeying your wish does not come from being lesser. It comes from feeling elevated through your guidance. Because your wish is not a power move. It is a pathway to something divine. And she feels it in her chest, in her womb, in her every breath when she's near you. You don't demand she act, but she moves anyway. She gets up before the sun to prepare your space. She adjusts the room temperature before you even realize you were cold. She prepares your drink and places it exactly how you prefer, with no instruction, because she studied you, observed you, and wants to bless you. You've become the kind of man a woman delights to nurture, not because you're needy, but because you're whole. And when a woman finds a whole man, her entire being wants to contribute. Her obedience is not the response to domination. It is the honoring of direction. And you, chosen one, no longer give direction to control others. You embody direction just by walking into a room. She doesn't fear your power anymore, because it's no longer explosive, it's established. You have become the quiet storm she dreams of following, the steady drumbeat she wants to march beside. And her joy in fulfilling your wish is proof that she has finally found someone who doesn't use her energy, but reflects it back with reverence. When she serves you, she's not losing herself, she's meeting herself. Finally, in the arms of a man who made her femininity feel like a crown instead of a burden. The truth is, chosen one, the more she honors your wish, the more you honor her freedom. That is the sacred loop you've entered. You don't need her to agree with you, yet she does. You don't ask her to cater to you, yet she chooses to. You don't expect her loyalty, yet it arrives stronger than ever. Because what you offer is not fantasy, it's structure, it's masculine beauty. And the feminine naturally yields to beauty that holds her, not harms her, that sees her, not uses her, that protects her, not controls her. You are that beauty now, and her service is not submission, it is her soul's exhale, her long-awaited yes to a man who finally makes it safe to love again. Chosen one, it's not about what you do anymore, it's about what you don't have to do. You don't have to chase, you don't have to prove. You don't have to negotiate your worth. That season is over. Now you live in embodiment, and that embodiment is more commanding than any demand ever could be. Feminine women feel you from across the room. They feel it in the way you hold space, in how your gaze lingers without urgency, in how your breath seems unhurried by the chaos around you. They are drawn not to your words, but to your depth. Not to your charm, but to your calm. And in that calm, they start to remember themselves. That's why your wish becomes their joy. Because your presence reminds them of something ancient, something they forgot they were waiting for. You are the masculine they never knew they needed. Not for control, not for safety alone, but for alignment. When you speak, it doesn't feel like authority from the outside, it feels like direction from within. Your wish is no longer a request, it is a mirror. It reflects back to her what her spirit has secretly wanted all along, to pour herself into something worthy. And now she has found it in you. In your posture, in your tone, in your restraint. In the way you move like a man who knows his power, but never wields it recklessly. She follows you not because she's programmed to, but because you are now a frequency that liberates her femininity. She didn't want to obey just anyone. She wanted to obey a man who knew how to lead her somewhere sacred. And that is who you are now. You are no longer guessing your way through relationships. You are guiding with precision, not with force, but with gravity. Your presence bends her thoughts, stills her panic, silences her doubt. You've become the place where she can stop pretending to be strong. And in that surrender, in that softness, she wants to respond to you. She wants to cook for you. She wants to clean your space. She wants to sit at your feet and hear your thoughts, not because she's weak, but because she feels privileged to be in your orbit. Your high sexual energy isn't chaotic anymore. It's ordered. It doesn't crash over her like a wave. It surrounds her like a warm current, carrying her toward her truest self. And in that environment, she is no longer just reactive. She is creative. She anticipates your desires, not because she's afraid to disappoint, but because she feels honored to fulfill them. You are not just a man to her. You are a spiritual blueprint, a reminder of how powerful the feminine can be when she feels a masculine she can trust. And trust, chosen one, is now the foundation of everything you touch. She brings you her softness without shame. She brings you her effort without resentment. She brings you her laughter, her time, her beauty, her prayers, all because your wish is not a burden, it's a blessing. She knows now that pleasing you does not mean erasing herself. It means becoming more of who she was born to be. And in your presence, she feels awakened, not because you ask for her loyalty, but because you've become loyal to yourself. You no longer need to possess her. You simply stand and everything she is begins to align. That's what you've become now, chosen one. You are not just a man women like. You are the masculine they were born to respond to. And when you speak, even in a whisper, they do not hesitate. Because they know your wish was never about control. It was always about invitation. And you, in your wholeness, are now the invitation they've been praying for. Chosen one, there is something extraordinary unfolding beneath the surface of your everyday interactions with women. It's subtle, it's sacred, and it cannot be faked. You do not need to persuade or convince or seduce anymore because your energy now does what words never could. It pulls. And this pull is not manipulation. It is alignment. Feminine women feel it instantly. The moment you walk into a space, their inner world shifts, their energy softens, their mind quiets, their body listens. Because what you carry isn't just sexual, it's sovereign. Your desire is no longer frantic or hungry. It's refined, it's slow burning, grounded, and deeply anchored in your masculine presence. That's why, chosen one, when you express a desire, whether it be for closeness, for peace, for beauty, for service, it becomes her joy to fulfill it. Not because you asked her to, but because your very being grants her permission to express her femininity freely. She doesn't feel used by your desire, she feels adored by it. It's in the way you look at her, steady, present, not looking through her, but into her. And in that gaze, she realizes she is seen not just as a body, not just as a possibility, but as a gift. Your desire doesn't consume her, it grounds her. She feels honored to be desired by you because she knows you do not throw your energy around cheaply. You have become selective, not out of fear, but out of reverence for yourself. And that reverence radiates through every gesture, every breath, every quiet moment of stillness in your company. It is the kind of energy that invites without chasing, inspires without pressuring, magnetizes without performing. She finds herself doing things for you that she's never done before. And she's happy doing them. She wants to wash your clothes, to care for your needs, to keep your home peaceful, to prepare your space just the way you like it. Not because she feels small, but because around you, her soul feels beautiful. Because your wish is no longer about control, it is about co-creation. And she recognizes that when she fulfills your desire, she is not being used, she is being elevated. She's being invited into something holy, something rare.